Good morning. I reckon the hardest thing that I have, the hardest job that there is to being a woman is that there is constant, you have to constantly be like, it seems to me everything is just turned to fucking 11. So like all of the, and you like from my interpretation, you're constantly like there seems to be a pressure for them to just be on point, like hello and welcome to the new, like they have to fucking, you have to give it everything all the time. And I know that they don't do that. I know that they don't because I've spent a lot of time with women, and so although they do, but they don't present that all the time. And that's because the only women that we're seeing are presenters. We're seeing presenters, and now we're seeing influencers in the gamified world. I'm going to list out some things that are a concern to do with the way that all of this has unraveled. It has unraveled. That's the problem as well, is my female alter ego is a bit of a slut. So it's like embarrassing to do that. I think everyone's fucking female alter ego is a bit of a slut, but mine specifically is a bit of a slut. And that's not me being misogynistic. That is not me being misogynistic and just interpreting women, because it's not actually, I'm not actually a slut. I'm just a bit of a flirty, like, anyway. All of this AI infrastructure is built on video game graphics cards. And basically what they're attempting to do is they're attempting to supersede an overlay over the top of every region all at the same time. And there is no way that it, like, if you go back to whenever you can try and find some point of like normalcy, you know, I know that doesn't really exist, but you will, and you had a discussion. See, these people are all dead, but if you were able to have a discussion with these people and you say, the bunch of video gamers are trying to lure everyone into a world that they control with absolutely no like front-facing legitimacy. And in fact, they're going to actually, in the process of doing this, they're going to destroy our trust in front-facing legitimacy, because how will you ever know? And that's what they've already done. That's what they're already doing. And they're trying to vacuum up the entire fucking world and hold it in their frame, which at the moment, and look, it's like, if this is used to do this thing in Iran, and then there is a clear display, especially from America, that's like, we're not going to do this. We are not going to do this. You've like, because that, from my perspective, that is not an appropriate trajectory for the world, or more specifically, like, let's just get to my actual, sphere of influence. For myself, it's like, even if in this ridiculous system, if my children have somehow fallen out of my influence because I've chosen to defend how I presume is the best way to defend reality, then I will still be myself in that reality. And I will not submit to a video game. I fucking hate. I've been doing this my whole life. This is no different. I would go to my friends' houses. We would hang out, and then as soon as they would start playing video games, I would leave. Okay? Like, I'm not here to fuck spiders, is how Australians say it. And by fuck spiders, I mean playing video games. And you've already been seen to be, like, basically an artificially trained computer in the United States or outsourced to India does not understand the local demographic of the region that I'm in. And so you are algorithmically, like, degrading the entire world down to the weirdest level. And then at the same time, you are forcing everybody to witness you having a war. And this just wasn't the way that it was. And it basically has gotten in the way of every other thing that we are required to do to maintain order. And you're doing it to maintain attention so that you can expand, and you're basically hoping that we all come under your rule based on this system. But you don't even make this system. It's outsourced everywhere. It's like the software is done in India. The devices are made in China. It's all tied into, like, your money, which is being hyperinflated in the digital realm. There is no good reason. There is no legal reason. And at every point, if I address this, if I go back in time and address every single jump-off point that you've steamrolled over, that you've bulldozed through, I think the country will start seeing that. But I'm not here to also condemn. It's like, basically, like, in my consideration, we have across Australia in all our cities, we have Chinatown. We've had this for a long time. There's a place mostly has Chinese people in it, and it, you can get good. I like going there to get duck, whatever the duck's called, and there's Chinese supermarket, it's a place where Chinese people can feel Chinese. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And I feel like this is the point where we've got to go. The handheld smartphone era was the fantasy realm of some Wall Street cocaine junkies from the fucking 80s. And it is there. They've built it. They've built it. And look at what it looks like. And despite, me watching American Psycho more times than I would care to admit, I am Australian, and I grew up in the bush, which is like, I don't know, the jungle. You could call it the jungle, would maybe make more sense. It's not like a forest. It's like the jungle. And because I grew up in the jungle, I don't want to live in New York City in a digital, stock traders fucking wet dream fantasy land anymore. And I don't think anyone else does. But I'm not condemning it because I understand. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. So as soon as our laws start reflecting this, that it's like, we have Chinatown. You know what I mean? We would clearly have a problem if Chinatown just started expanding. You can imagine it's like, Chinatown is everywhere now, motherfuckers. Like, that's a problem. And that's what America has done. They're like, video game, smartphone, La La Land is everywhere. In fact, it is your law. In fact, all decisions will be made through our algorithmically controlled hierarchy of alignment towards our end cause or our end goal. And I'm like, no, you're not Australian. You don't understand. You don't understand. It's different for an Australian man to do this than it is for an American man. It's different for an Australian man to do this, than an English man in England, although I am an Englishman, which makes it even more confusing for you all. All of this is different, okay? I'm not saying I want all the phones gone and all of it. Like, I'm just saying that will exist in a different landscape, especially a different financial landscape, because your digital inflation is causing the baseline inflation, most prominently property taxes, to rise to a ridiculous number, because you just keep arbitrarily pulling numbers out of the fucking air based on this bullshit, which is inflating at a different speed, at a disconnected speed from the physical reality. And it's actually just like the basic way to say it, I think, properly, is to say it is in incredibly bad taste to be doing this to Australian people who are English people. You know what I mean? Like, this is what needs to be known. And not just, I'll say British. Australian people who live who haven't come here in the last 50 years, we are British, the majority of us. We are sitting here holding the fort down for the 1,000-year-plus history of Britain, which is wonderful, which is why we're all even here having a conversation, which is why we're speaking this language, unlike Jim Carrey. We're speaking English. This is why. Yeah, we left England, majoritively, I'd say, because of what London was doing 400 years ago, or 300 or 200, whenever we arrived. And London has arrived on the phone, and it is projecting to every corner, but it's like, it doesn't make sense to have this. It is ruining our local, like, adaptation to a land that we're still very new to and not very well suited to. Like, it's hot here. It is hot, and there isn't enough water. So when there is a place that is hot and there isn't enough water, if the United States is seen to be corrupting our entire population into a video game delusion, that's an act of war. Now, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to find a way that this works. And I already know that our laws can cover this because it's planning laws. You cannot build a fucking peep show next to a library. You know, no one ever in any period of history would have ever thought that was a good idea. We used to know these things so well. And what's happening now is, like, we're in this arbitrary kind of confused state because of the stupid fucking devices that fit in our pocket. This was like, we had a principal the other day, like, who had fucking child porn on his phone as a principal. And look, definitely not the only one. You know, if there was a device, if there was a metal detecting device that would detect your phone for child porn when you enter a classroom, that's where we'd be. That's what we have for knives, well, in certain places, in prisons and things like that. But it just doesn't make sense. It's like, I don't want any single person with a fucking iPhone or a smartphone teaching my children ever. And I'm backed by, you know, thousands of years of history when I say that. You know, there's a lot, most of our history is since America basically became America, has been pushing back against American fucking ridiculousness. And this is no different. It's like, you are extending your war of independence to all colonial land, to all Commonwealth land. and you're using a fucking video game. You know, we're not the Iranian regime here. We're not part of some type of, Islamic extremist, empire trying to make proliferate nuclear war. We are Englishmen in Australia, like an Englishman in New York, but hotter. It's like you're dealing with your own kind that you have strayed away from. And this type of thing is exactly what it's all about. It's like, we do not want to play your stupid fucking video game. We appreciate your work that you're doing, especially like with this middle, but it's like, it's difficult to even say whether it's like you didn't create this situation. If our enemies look at this device the same way as I do, then they look at everyone in our society, going along with it. We all look like you. And your system is the thing that is keeping me, someone like me, out of it. Because it's like, why would you promote somebody being anti the thing? And it's like, that's where it becomes clear, because through our educational systems, we've always done that. We've always criticized everything across the board, because that's how we get an accurate understanding of where we are. The most important place for there to be a pushback against this concept of the progressive new world digital order is in the digital world. The fact that you've used the first opportunity to ostracize and push everyone out, and the fact that it has been felt so strongly, shows that it's already gone too far. It's already should be, completely condemned. I won't stop until this stupid fucking, this 10-year experiment is put in the archives as a ridiculous American fucking industrial accident, which is what it is. You are not keeping up, despite all the automation promises and all these things. You're not keeping up with the basics of human rights in your system, and then you're continuing that with like global wars. And it's like, although I'm in support of liberation of the Persian people from this ridiculous Iranian system, because I myself have come under their attack, it's like, we don't need to resort to this type of shit. It can still exist. There'd be an argument that it might actually exist better if you can but break the ties and just let it be what it is. People are still going to want to be there and do things in there. I just want a clear divide. I don't want to live in that fucking world, but I will maybe enter that world. I will maybe take some of my money, put it into the thing, and then use it how I see fit. Like I would enter a casino, or like I would enter an amusement park, or anything like that. But that is all you have. Amusement parks quite often do have a enter at your own risk warning. No one that goes to the amusement park or the casino to do their fucking accounting and their fucking post office work or licensing. They don't. And this is the ridiculousness of it. And it's like every government across the world has lent into this system because it is cheaper, right? But that's not good. The cheapness is what is leading to this. Is like it is cutting corners. There's no commitment. And so it's like what we have now is a global collection of people that are coalescing to these gigantic financial institutions, and they're being stuck on a shelf like an Amazon warehouse because of their usage and their consent towards the handheld device. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous, because nothing else happens. We don't build like grassroots proper councils and proper legislation, proper anything, planning, construction, infrastructure, like anything. It's all just like Sim City now. From like, we just look at a Chinese catalog, we're like, oh, we want this, we'll do this, we'll take some of our digital money. all the systems that we require to remain stable and sovereign are being sucked up by this fucking American vacuum cleaner. And we have to be clear and precise about where the fucking boundary is. You know, specifically, it's like, all right, maybe our capital cities are gone. Okay. The rest of it is a fucking desert, fucking, shithole and degraded farmland. You're not coming and sweeping up a bunch of new arrivals, in the tsunami of your digital fucking onslaught across the world, and then vacuuming up our whole region when you're already in absolute breach of human rights basics, of like basic human rights. You cannot automate the world. And it's like, especially on the fucking example that's already been set by the video games. And the behavior I've already witnessed from a lot of people in this cohort, it's very clear that that's what's happened. It's like, you conditioned them into playing video games. You then use graphics cards from video games to basically create a Earth simulation that you are constantly, provoking people to be in absolute fucking terror of. Whilst then, committing mass fucking warfare. It's like, this is the last time. You know what I mean? It's like, we support your action in Iran, but this is it. You need to wind this fucker up. And you need to hand off and say, hey, if you ever wanted to go to America, then get a phone. And our government right now should be going, hey, America's, becoming a bit smaller than it was. We're sorry that we all lost track of the country that we're supposed to be governing because a bunch of fucking Gen Z fucking millennials waved their tits in our face in the form of our literal prime minister. We've got to get back to appropriate design of our regions, okay? We've got to develop a relationship that is appropriate with these fucking technologies, majoritively pushed out by the United States. They've already failed the first test. Did you use the pre-existing model for hierarchical algorithmic development, or did you just, fucking shoot T-shirts out of a fucking cannon at a dance festival? It's like, you did the second. And that is very offensive. And it would be very, I'm speaking for the last 200 years of Australian people. It's like, that is unforgivable, actually. And a lot of those people aren't here. A lot of those people that more than likely would have been here aren't here because of this. And how are we ever going to be in a position to negotiate anything? I'm always one step away from literally just walking out and starting a fucking empire out in the fucking desert. Very much like you're dealing with in Iraq and Afghanistan and all these things. But we'll be English. We will link all these fucking desert people together and we'll just fucking roll the fucking lot of yous. And this is like, it's a gentle warning as to the spirit of the people that you are attempting to fucking, have ultimate control over with, using the exact thing that they fucking hate. And I think worst of all, it's like these people, it's like Donald Trump, you are now a game lord and you don't even know what that is. I'm guessing you've never even spent any time, mostly at all, playing video games, but you are using a video game to rain terror across the world. Now, as long as that terror is fucking, isolated to the people that have actually been raining terror, physical fucking terror all over the world, it's wonderful. But we need a detransition fucking strategy so that we don't get stuck in it. Because that would be the only goal of those people. There's a clear display that they are shutting down our energy supplies. And I'm like, great, because I think I have more in common with those fucking people than you all do at the moment, because you've drank your own Kool-Aid and you're driving down a fucking dead-end road with a bunch of fucking creepy computer nerds. You're going to destroy the whole thing. And I actually hope you do it really quickly. And you already, in my interpretation, have. You've destroyed our social cohesion that we had, that you just didn't understand. You've done what Americans always do. You've come in and fucking yelled at the top of your lungs and fucking taken all the air out of the room, and then assumed that because you're American that we're all following. We're not. We don't want to. And even if you've overwhelmed us with recent arrivals, they're not really wanting to. They're just trying to fit in. But it's where are they fitting into? As soon as there's a census, it's what? How do you pay for things? How do you get your news? How do you speak to your family and friends? How do you do this? If the answer to all of those questions ends up being a smartphone, then that's it. It's all over. And that's my claim. It's why was the entire world's physical reality stuck in one fucking device that no one will trust at the end of the day? I've ran this experiment. It fails. I ran it 2 years ago. It fails. It especially fails when, just crank the level of counter intelligence, artificial intelligently created nonsense, and start running that. It's we can't control the flow. We can't go and check the source. I'm watching shit now, and it's I can already see the YouTube feed streaming in from just today. And I'm that's not how I work. I've built my stockpile of intelligence and history and things like that for a long time. I don't need, I'm not being led in this thing. And again, it's the only reason I'm ever here is to say that I'm not consenting to being here. I'm here because this is where I choose to meet you, with my army hiding in the desert, in other words. And I will continue doing this. You're going to displace thousands and thousands of people all around the world by this, and they're going to meet in the places that I'm going to meet. The places without fucking power poles, without fucking Wi-Fi, without all these things. And that is what humanity has been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And you are betting the entire world's fucking civilization, more specifically your entire empire, on a video game and the promise from fucking absolutely psychotic fucking nerds that have never even gone for a long walk, let alone fucking contemplated living disconnected from their fucking, from their I don't know, from their nursery, from their digital fucking nursery. We've got to find the points where we break away from this Jetsons fucking projection. Where there's more than enough already to say this was a mistake. Not completely. You know what I mean? It's we had video games and then we had the world. Now, unfortunately, those two things have come too close together, and they are all contained on a stupid fucking device that has an uncurable problem of scale. It is not being perceived. This will come through scientifically, and as soon as it does, which should have already, the largest observation of the largest distributed industrial fucking, I'll call it poisoning or pollution of the entire fucking world, was projected for 3 years on that interface and not elevated. I still haven't even, I fucking 15 years ago got a pack of Dunhill cigarettes that tasted a bit off, and I phoned up Dunhill, and I got a fucking hand-delivered pack of fucking cigarettes that said, "We're sorry about the unpleasant experience you had with Dunhill." And this wasn't when cigarettes were $60 for a pack. This is when cigarettes were $10 a pack. And already ridiculous price because that had been inflated with the tax. They went from being $4 to $10. And I took that hit. But before all the plain packaging, it's like that company sent me a fucking packet of cigarettes to apologize because one of their packs had a problem, had a strange flavor to it. Now, focus in on right here, right now, smartphones being basically an exact analog for the cigarettes. It's the same thing. It's a pretty package. It's addictive as fuck. It's handheld. It has all the same, whatever what they call it. When you have the addiction to the thing of smoking. But I'm sitting there saying, you've like created a product that has a problem with scale where it is confusing the base parts of our brain so that people aren't actually perceiving what they're seeing is real because it is too small and it's held in their hand, right? And for thousands of years, anything that we control in our hand belongs to us and we are the master of, right? I haven't even, you'd think, considering the level of liability towards an accusation that large, you'd think that someone would have sent a representative. Billions and billions of dollars are going through this thing. How many billions of items, of handheld devices are going through this? How much news, technology, all of it is going through a system that isn't being interpreted as real. That's insane, but basically you're playing a fucking end game that has no end, and you're already proven to do that. You've been proven that you will restrict algorithmic flow and distribution of anyone criticizing your devices or your network, which leaves us to abandon your network, which in your interpretation is abandoning civilization, but it isn't. It's abandoning an aspect of civilization that has gone off the rails. It should be known that if this is your number one responsibility, if you're a parent or just a person, your number one responsibility is to push back against this thing that has been proven to be absolutely ridiculous. That's what it is. We're not even in a position where we can look up a single fucking law in this country that says, are you allowed to project a video game over the top of our fucking structure? Because it would be so obvious that the answer would be no. Are you allowed to project a handheld video? Most of the laws, the important ones, video games didn't exist. So how would you have ever conceived of a thing? You have to step back and you have to go, well, isn't that just fraud? If you're projecting a trusted network reality of financial distribution, news distribution, all these things on a device that isn't being perceived as real, that's just basic fraud. Basic fraud, like identity fucking fraud, like false identification. But it's like everybody got on the ship, and there's I didn't, and I'm saying that this is how you're all acting. This is how you're all perceiving these things, and the laws that we will use to push back on them are the most basic laws. As soon as it's not creative thinking. It's exact. And the only trick is it's the boiling frog. It wasn't from the beginning. It was sold to us as absolute fucking certainty on top of a system that had already been sold to us as absolute certainty, on top of another system that had already been sold to us with absolute certainty. All backed on a fucking fractional reserve paper-backed fiat currency. And this is the thing, it's like that fiat currency in every region has failed. Always and forever, it has failed. There might have been a chance if you had have taken the very, very intensely serious and slower, that's why you didn't do it, choice of establishing a hard-backed, gold-backed digital currency from the get-go and then attempting to build your fucking digital empire. But you didn't do that. You built it on paper fucking currency, on paper fiat currency, with probably the most conflicted and the most on the edge currency that there was, the most likely to fail. And this is clearly just a new and novel way that you are finding to hide your inflation. It follows all the same things. It's new. So no one is identifying it yet. If you can just keep building a network and extracting value from an ever increasing, lowering in attachment to the physical world, this is where it's like you are at war with physical reality. You are luring women to expose their most precious asset for nothing, for pennies. And if this was happening in the fucking street, which it basically is, we'd all be able to see it. But it's like you're coercing women to finding privacy and then selling their wares to the fucking international market. It's like you are committing sex slavery without even having to fucking round anyone up and stick anyone on a ship, and you're congratulating yourselves for it. You're destroying our connection with our value systems that are crucial for sustainable growth and building everything, politics, laws, family, established societal cohesion, all the things, all the hugest things, environmental awareness. Who cares about the environment when you have a digital environment that is utopian? As long as you're a young, attractive, fucking, reckless fucking woman, happy to fucking do whatever the thing tells you to do. And it's getting hard to ignore all of these things. And there is no strategy for conclusion that is sane. It's it's like a little bit like people are accusing you in this Iranian conflict, which I'm going to stay out of because it's I'm actually quite glad. But you need a transition policy. You need a policy to get back to and this, I keep saying the British Empire, it's let's go back 400 years and settle this fucking civil war that is spread out all across the world, that this is an inevitable conclusion of. It's mirroring the thing exactly. It's exactly what London did to Britain 400 years ago. It's just now on a computer. That thing is London being projected through its military industrial complex called the United States. And the entire world's finances and legislation and awareness, everything, is being fucking constantly hypnotized to make us all believe that this is the status quo, that this is where we're inevitably going to go to. And there's decades of this shit. All of it, all the space race, all the science fiction, everything for this moment. But there's going to be a split. And that's okay. It's unless these tech oligarchs and these international finances, all the thing, unless you now take this, it's you need to take the physical cities and you need to apply your phone-based logic to those cities so that we can apply our geographical laws to your system. The divide is no longer this loophole where you're projecting into a fictional fucking la la land, and causing degradation to all of our places, but not getting the bill for it is over. Every location in every state in this country, you are expected to have a location that is your headquarters that you govern under your phone-based rule. It's basic, and you are responsible for any migrant that lands there, with a phone in their hand and said, "You tricked me. You tricked me, and we will govern you on how you fucking take responsibility for the victims of your crime." It's basic con. It's at its core, it is fraud. You are fraudulently projecting power, force, influence, and a system that you are in control of, but you are out of control in the basics of human that we've had for like 3, 4, 5, 600 years. You are not allowed to treat people like this in our societies, and our phones are in our societies. So if a woman is being mistreated or like convinced into doing, horrific things, and then she carries that phone into somewhere that, has law, from now on, that is precedent. That is hard and fast law. Or should be. We should be getting to that conversation. This privacy fucking bullshit, which is, it's like, they're like, oh, we give you privacy while we're taking all of your privacy and selling it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is literally the fucking model. And it's like there are teachers walking in with these devices. It's like they shouldn't be allowed to. This system, this handheld smartphone system, now needs to be understood as that. It is the wet dream of a bunch of 1980s fucking Wall Street traders, and I like to say that with a D. With a T, traitors that have sold their souls to the digital fucking devil and created fucking pedophile Disneyland and made it the hottest fucking Christmas present under the tree. That is it. That is what it is. Yeah, it's like, a Prince of England got swept up in it, but so did billions of other people. This is permanently fucking damaged, like global information flow, global like finance flow, global comparative economics, everything, and as Neron, permanently destroyed our connection, our vital connection with the physical fucking reality of the world. It's not something to be proud of. It should be, kept in in the bottom of your sock drawer, if anything. It's like any business that is now fucking, handing this out. Oh, we need this. It's like, gross. Fucking build a fucking phone center, build a fucking office, build something else. You do not fucking distribute your workforce with these fucking things anymore. If you don't want to come under absolute fucking scrutiny for like the basic laws to do with financial fraud. You can't rely on a system that basically yells from the rooftops and promotes fucking sexual fucking slavery and expect to run a legitimate fucking business in this country anymore. And we'll just start seeing it's like that's where we should be going. If we're not, at least I'm here fucking protesting it. I have to get all dolled up and I have to come here and protest every day, and it makes me so upset and so worried. And everybody calls me funny names because I'm dressing up like a girl, despite the fact that, do you blame me? It's like, how else do I do this? This is my first step here, trying to make contact. If contact isn't fucking approved and formalized, then it will just degrade. I guarantee you there will be a fucking a global fucking horde of people that decide to disconnect from this shit, and that will outnumber the morons by a factor of probably 20 to 1. The promises are a lie. You know what I mean? You padded your promises with fucking absolute atrocity. It's you've got to start building a bridge back to reality. And I know that you can't, because I know that it's the inflation. It's like you're governing vast areas, or in the form of some Wall Street, capital companies, you're claiming to oversee these vast areas, but have no way of balancing those books. You don't have militaries. You don't have enough things to provide the insurance to protect the value of the assets that you are claiming you are owed by your mortgagees. So that is falling to someone like myself, who is just a freehold landowner who has an interest in our society not falling to shit. That's ridiculous. And this is the thing. It's kind of like these beam scooters. Think about them, right? They're cool. They're interesting. It's a concept, right? But it's also a great concept to tear to pieces. It's like they're using the infrastructure of the roads. They're causing havoc. They didn't pay for that infrastructure. They're just extracting. They're just a parasitical fucking thing extracting value from our society. But they may as well be the Pope compared to this system that is at a far higher level. These international finance companies, backing your mortgage into a digital fucking, tsunami waiting to happen, into a digital fucking earthquake waiting to happen. They've broken their connection. They've betrayed their bond to prudent financial development, to responsible, to legal, and to non-war-based financial, relationships with our countries all across the world, because they're based in the same place. They're all based in New York. They're New York, financial contraptions. But they are one thing. They are fucking perpetual motion machines being legitimized by the fucking digital handheld, reality. And if this was presented 20 years ago, as a legitimate threat, it's like, you should know that this is a legitimate threat coming from this thing. It's like, but it wasn't. It was like, we can play Angry Birds on your fucking phone. You can have 1,000 songs in your pocket. All of that. It is constant, adaptive. Like, that'll do. It's like, we could do this. We could do this. Why don't we do this? But majoritively coming from one mindset, which is simply extraction. So we talk so much about, most young people, they're overeducated to the damages of extraction industries in the form of oil and gas, all these things, right? Mining, oil and gas, but not so much agriculture, even though that's probably where they should be most concerned, which is in its present form massively an extraction industry. But all of those pale in comparison to this financial extraction industry that is now broken ties with physical reality. It doesn't need to it doesn't need to protect its money. It no longer has to have every 20 kilometers have a vault filled with fucking money to back its. And it's like, that is the largest mistake that there's ever been. And if I have my way, that is all about to be reversed. You will not be able to trust anything unless within 20 kilometers there is a vault filled with money. And that's pretty simple. We're right now on the verge of astronomical global fucking warfare. Where at any point this entire fucking global fucking monstrosity can turn all things off, or even worse, just project absolute lies. 6-dimensional fucking dystopian hellish lies that will, convince, I'm guessing, a significant amount of people to kill themselves on the spot. That's a far way disconnected from what I'm talking about, 20 kilometers away, a physical vault filled with physical currency that backs the growth from the physical location in a radius that they can actually manage. See, bank managers used to be called that. They used to be called bank managers. They would manage the expansionary financial assets and, debt in a responsible way. That's why they were boring, methodical bean counters, not not this. Like, you don't even need a bank manager now because you have like artificial intelligent fucking supercomputer sex robots selling you the concept of home ownership. That is so far disconnected from what we had. And there is no junction ahead. There is nothing. They are they are doing a burnout with the world. Right? And it's like the people that established this, that laid the initial tracks, the train tracks that led inevitably to here, although we didn't know they led inevitably to here, they were terrible, fucking ridiculous people, right? They're probably dead. But they unlike previous, innovators and developers and titans of business and industry, they didn't write copious amounts of information, architecturally designing these brilliant fucking ecosystems of financial and societal flow. They've just been putting chips down on the roulette table and betting at every single increment. Right? Oh, we can do this now. Should we do this? I reckon we should. Oh, yeah. That'll bring us tons of money. Tons of dollary dues. Should we? Hey, we can do this now. Should we do this? I reckon we should. Put the money down. Let's go again. And that's where we are. Every other civilizational step, like bridges, pipelines, canals, all these things had a ridiculous amount of pressure placed on the developer, on the innovator, on the engineer, or on the architect. You know what I mean? If their promises then the pressure came on them, they would speak. They would have a microphone thrust in their face. But no one is in this because it's all helping each other. There's new technologies leaning on new technologies, leaning on new concepts, with a bunch of entrepreneurs, claiming to be engineers, all compartmentalized into just, coalition of this fucking ungodly, unclaimed empire. There is no empire. There is no emperor. There can't be. There's no foresight. There's no design. It is just a scramble to tie up all the loose ends. And this is if you want to know what the green energy movement is, it's this infrastructure. There is now a fucking gold rush to protect this infrastructure because they are profiteering from war being held in the digital and not confirmed as actual warfare, despite it, ticking every box that war would tick. And we have legitimate business titans our very own mining moguls and things like that jumping on to power the light bulb. Almost no legitimate pushback. Just all go. Go. That is not, that doesn't align with anything that we've seen in any previous iteration, of in any age, any industrial age, any agricultural age, anything. It's that was similar, but it's not, the scrutiny isn't there. There would be evenly dispersed and majoritively far higher pushback than consenting. We've skipped all of those steps. We have never had a debate through our political system, through our parliamentary system here or in England, about the legitimacy, the legal status of this digital fucking ecosystem. Despite the fact it's we have constant thing about their industrial revolution's impact on the earth, we have never even debated this. We went straight to prosecuting within that realm, which I'm a victim of. You went straight there. You bypassed every single legitimate argument that should have been held through our political system and went straight to the poking machines. which in my mind delegitimizes every single person claiming to be a political member of this country. It's like, if you did not question this, you need to leave. We have some amazingly difficult negotiations to do between these two titans of business, China and the United States. But unfortunately, it's like they've come together in this. And this is the thing, it's like that's being missed. It's like they collectively built this and have collectively defended against critique using concentration camps, using that mindset. It's the reverse of it. It's like you didn't put the dissidents in the concentration camps. You put everyone in the concentration camps and then restricted the people you didn't like from the concentration camp, which is really sneaky. Really, really, really fucking sneaky. But it isn't baseline humanity. It's like, and it's completely disconnected from the core things that we need. And the only reason that this is kept going is because, like, the people that produce really necessary things for our lives, their commitment towards the production of those things, they actually get fulfilled by doing that. They are not solely remunerated by monetary value. They get something. Humans get something from providing things that are necessary. I'm not being remunerated from this. I get the fulfillment and the satisfaction from knowing that I'm doing something that needs to be done. Everything else has been sucked up by the remuneration in an ever-inflating paradigm. So it's like you're all broke. You're all actually working for nothing, but you're scrambling over each other and fucking killing and ostracizing people because you are solely working for financial remuneration. And that has to be the case because you are having to be disconnected. Your consciousness is having to be disconnected from the physical world so that you can keep going along with this. Your subconscious knows what you're doing. It knows what you're building, and it knows who you're building it for, and it knows who you're stomping on to fucking get in line for the fucking gold fucking chocolate covered coin. This is ingenious engineering of our baseline human instincts, right? But it's not responsible stewardship of any region. Every state and the federal government, every organization is all guilty of absolute gross negligence in this. It's like we knew enough to put ratings on video games, but we don't put a rating on the device. And then then we put it on social media, the only place in that environment to have a discussion. Absolute fucking unforgivable crime was that attempt. Any attempt to fucking, to slow walk this inevitable conclusion of, revelation of what is actually going on is a crime. A crime by our historic laws, not by some fucking interpretation through the digital fucking paradigm of the smartphone. Through our historic laws. Multiple organizations, multiple fucking references throughout history. It is a crime what you have done. You are completely illegitimately ruling. You're completely negligent in your baseline thing. And you are, at the worst case, bragging about supposedly fixing these things whilst actually just making them 100 times worse. Banning social media for under 16-year-olds is a crime against humanity. You know what I mean? It's the only place in this thing that they will have a legitimate attempt to be able to critique this, and that is what young people do. That is why they were banned. Young rebellious people, they'll be like, they will winnow out the truth of this situation. They'll be like, what are they all fucking doing on there? You know what I mean? They can look back in the past, and you know this. You know that you can't turn off enough other things and be unnoticed by this. So you turn the children off. This isn't the same as putting fucking little rumble strips at the top of a staircase so that people don't skateboard down it. You know what I mean? It is not the same. You are gagging and bagging our fucking children so that you are not exposed for the crimes against humanity you are fucking guilty of, which is a crime against humanity. Like, this will fucking end in absolute fucking warfare. Or it will end with a discussion, you know, a separation. Like we have Chinatown, we will have Americatown. It's held in a phone. You know, once that's clear, and it's like, that money, Americatown money, phone money, is not the same as Australian money. It is nothing like it. It's not the same as the British pound. It's not the same as the fucking yen or the fucking anything. It is American money. It's American Disneyland money. Right? Now, then it will be able to responsibly steward itself to whatever it wants to do. If it wants to inflate its money out the fucking ass and just provide a fucking, you know, sinner's paradise, it can do that. I don't know what the forces at play will be once those types of divides are made. But this is the final, this is it. This is the end of the line. So you've played out your fucking currency, and now we have a new precedent. Now we know that there is a new level to how ridiculous a government will go to inflate its way out of fucking problems. You know, we don't have the wheelbarrow loads of cash. We have the wheelbarrow loads of fucking prostitutes, you know, probably permanently damaged by their fucking exploits on the internet, to deal with in each geographical region. And we have absolutely no way to claim remuneration from the United States of America, which is now having its final hurrah, killing fucking millions of people or thousands of people in the Middle East. What did you expect? What did you fucking expect? All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to take this jacket off because it's hot. And, yeah, wish you all the best.